Hello, I'm Dustin Abbott for 1,000 Word Images by Dustin Abbott, and I'm here today to talk to you about this lens, Tamron's new all-in-one / travel lens, the 28-300mm f3.5 to 6.3 DI VC PZD lens. Now, this lens enters into a category that for full-frame cameras has not really had a whole lot of competition. If you want decent optics, the only option for Canon users has been Canon's massive, and when I say massive, I mean massive 28-300. That is a large lens that actually weighs more than the standard f2.8 70-200 zooms. And so it's not necessarily a very light or compact travel option. And so this particular lens enters a category that really has quite little competition, at least as far as having decent optics. As you can see, this is Tamron's own 24-70mm f2.8 zoom. You can tell that this is a very compact lens when you consider the great focal range it is covering. Now, this particular lens I've put through the paces over the past several weeks. One thing I want to note about its design is that Tamron actually does claim weather sealing or moisture resistance for this lens. There is a rubber gasket around the lens mount. And so mounted on a Canon 6D body like this, you can see that it is a very compact option. It has a 67mm filter thread, and it comes with a pedal-shaped hood. And so also there's a zoom lock on the side. But the design of this lens, I think it's highly unlikely you're going to experience actual zoom creep. The front element's not heavy, and also the zoom resistance is firm enough that I don't see any kind of wobble. It is a double barrel design. You can see it does extend out a fair bit, but when you consider that this goes from 28mm all the way up to 300, this is a very amazingly compact lens. Now, of course, all of that's all well and good if it doesn't have the goods, but after using this lens, I kind of come away being very impressed, surprisingly impressed, in fact. I really expected to get compromised optics. My experience with lenses covering broad focal ranges in the past has not been great. And so I did not expect this lens to perform anywhere near what it actually did. And so I was impressed in image after image that I zoomed in on and saw a level of detail that I did not expect. And so this lens has all of the modern features. It has great coatings. I was not hardly able to introduce any kind of flare effect, even when pointed into very bright sources, particularly throughout the 3/4 of the zoom range from wide towards the majority of the range. There are very little chromatic aberrations. It does have distortion, a barrel distortion when you're at the wide end of the spectrum, but it's very consistent, very easily correctable in a standard profile for either Lightroom or Photoshop. And so it's not really an issue. It has full-time manual override with the PZD lens, or the PZD focus motor, and it does focus very quickly. It focuses accurately. I've been very pleased with that. Even using it in AF servo mode, I've been pleased with the results that I've gotten. Not that this is ever going to be anyone's top choice for a sport shooting lens. It has Canon's very effective VC, or vibration compensation system, that allows you to handhold at very low shutter speeds, but also more importantly, it operates very seamlessly. It's quiet. There's no jarring of the image as it starts up or grabs on, but it seems as soon as you begin to go to shoot, the image is stabilized in the viewfinder and it holds it very steady. It's a very effective system, and I'm very impressed with that. As far as shortcomings for this lens, I believe that there is a slight loss of contrast towards the end of the zoom range, but images are sharper than what I anticipated there. There's very few downsides. It's not necessarily a cheap lens, and it retails for about $850 in the US, around $950 in Canada. But when you consider that the principal competition from Canon, the aforementioned 28-300 L series lens costs $2,700, it becomes quite a bargain. This is the first lens that I've encountered that I actually would not be uncomfortable going away and bringing this as my only lens. The fact that it has some moisture resistance, of course, is helpful for travel. The focal length is fantastic, but most importantly to me, I can still get images that I am proud of and images that I wouldn't hesitate to share or even use in a professional setting. And that's saying something for a lens that has as great a focal range as this. As you can see in size, this lens is actually very similar to the also newly released 16-300mm lens from Tamron that is for crop sensor cameras, and their actual size is almost identical. The crop sensor lens is about 3 millimeters longer, which is virtually indistinguishable. My review of the crop sensor lens, the 16-300mm, will be going live soon, and you can find linkage to that down below. Every super zoom or all-in-one lens is a series of compromises, but Tamron has managed to minimize the typical faults that come with such lenses and produce a lens that produces very good image quality throughout the focal length. If you're looking for a travel option or an all-in-one lens solution for your full-frame body, I have no hesitations recommending this excellent lens, which has impressed me beyond my expectations. If you would like to see more sample images and also a full and thorough written review of this lens, take a look at dustinabbott.net, and there will be links below that you can take a look at. Subscribe, like, have a great day.